What is good, everyone, and welcome back to the Nostalgia Post Ultra podcast. My name is Nostalgia. Joining me is As Told by Zoe. What's good, my guy?
What's up, man?
Hey, man. I have an announcement to make.
What's up?
Rap beef is back, baby. Oh my god.
And
Rap beef
it's
back.
It's like Saturday Night Raw.
To quote old school WWE, it is a real slobber knocker. No, I'm playing. Dude, what the fuck is happening right now?
Listen, I'm going full hater mode.
Oh my god.
And I'm on the right side of history. I love to see it. Drake has been bothering the fuck out of me since her loss. And it's about time that somebody, and not just somebody, you know, probably the best to ever do it, to come at his fucking neck. And J. Cole, I apologize. I have no problem with you, but it's your fault for making a song with him.
Yeah, he was kind of collateral damage, but I mean, I understand I understand the deal. Okay, so let's backtrack. For those that I guess are living under a rock and haven't been on Twitter in the past 48 hours, Kendrick Lamar was on Metro Boomin and Future's album We Don't Trust You, which I kind of want to get into that album eventually on this episode, because I think it's a very good album.
Yeah, it's good.
Kendrick Lamar was a surprise feature on it. It had a whole verse and dropped some lines about, you know, Drake and J. Cole, which, you know, it was kind of sparked another round of the conversation of the three of them, depending on, you know, where your fandom lies on who you think is bigger. And then you have Kendrick fans that, you know, are loving this kind of discourse. You have J. Cole fans that are excited to finally see some solid rap beef and some solid bars being thrown at each other. And then the Drake fans are just being super insecure. So yeah, I mean, okay, going back through the lyrics of that song for Kendrick's verse or whatever, people like this is probably one of the first real times it's been, well, except for the Control verse, which I want to get into, but this is one of the first times in a while where I've seen him like actually say something or say a bar that realistically you know exactly who he's talking about. Because, you know, like sometimes in like certain verses, when it comes to a lot of people, like they'll say certain things and you're like, oh, this could mean he's talking to this person, he's talking to that person. Like, we know for sure he's talking to Drake and J. Cole in this one. Saying first person shooter by name, talking the song.
Yeah.
Then says like the whole big three thing, like fuck the big three. It's big me, which I thought was amazing. Yeah. And then the whole like the Pet Cemetery line,
so hard.
Super hard.
It's like a fucking triple entendre. Because it's like,
for real.
All your dogs, Drake's album for all the dogs. That's a K with all these nines, which is like, yeah, K9, but also guns, an AK and a 9, but also K like Kendrick and 9 because it's like you not a 10 like I am.
Okay.
And then he gonna see Pet Cemetery, K9, all the dogs, full circle, because he started off the verse with "Don't pull no coffin out your mouth."
Yeah, it's just crazy.
And he's
crazy.
He's insane. He there's no one. Dude. Dude, Drake is LeBron, man.
LeBron?
Because they're considered one of the best to ever do it. Okay. One of. It doesn't matter if you think he is the best or if you don't think he is the best. LeBron's one of the best athletes to ever grace Earth.
Okay.
But he's a bitch. But he's a bitch. Drake is one of the most prolific fucking rappers to ever grace music. He's kind of made he like when Drake came around, it kind of flipped the stigma of rap isn't music.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to say it was just him, but he was a big factor of it. Bro, he was one of the biggest artists in the world.
Yeah, like if you really think about the artists now and what they have and what they bring to the table in terms of their artistry, like there's always gonna be a new person that can rap but also sings.
But he's a bitch. The thing I sent you yesterday that's been bothering me. First off, Her Loss is an okay album. It's not that good. It's all right. But that's not even what bothers me. What bothers me is that everyone was like, wow, the song's hard, the song's this. Bro, he dissed like 3 girls on that album. Yeah. What are you doing? He dissed Ice Spice. He dissed Meg. And I think he had a line about Bobby Altoff.
Yeah, and Rihanna too, I think.
Bro, what are you doing? You know they're not going to respond. And that's why he did it. And that's why the TikTok I sent you, that's why, not the main reason, but that's a big reason why I think Kendrick responded.
Yeah, but their beef has been like kind of going back and forth for a long time. Yeah, and then like first person shooter just kind of happened to be the thing that started. You know what's funny? Okay, so let me just go ahead and do this. For those that do not know, right? The whole timeline of how we even got here. It's so funny. I did a little bit of research when I was like while this whole beef was going on and while people were talking about the whole Drake and Kendrick thing. So allow me to present to you the Drake and Kendrick farm to table timeline featuring Metro Boomin and Drake. All right. So I mean, obviously, it's so funny how a lot of things when it comes to, I mean, we can interject our or whatever we want to say like throughout this whole timeline, but it's so funny to me how all of this started with the Control verse.
Is that when his beef with Drake really started?
Yes.
When everyone else that was mentioned on that verse was like making jokes about it.
It wasn't even like making jokes. You know, it's funny. Like some people took it seriously. Like, okay, let me go. So again, for those that don't remember the verse is fire. The verse is fine.
Of course.
And then, but the whole thing is like, I'm usually homeboys with the same guys I'm rhyming with, but this is hip hop, and then dude should know what time it is, and that goes for Jermaine Cole, Big Crit, Wale, Pusha T, Meek Mill, A$AP Rocky, Drake, Big Sean, EJ Electronica, Tyler, Mac Miller. I got love for you all, but I'm trying to murder you, trying to make sure your fans never heard a noun or verb for you, right? Like that's the line.
Yeah.
That got everybody like messed up. So there were a few people that like took that as a sign of like, hey, he's saying, hey, let's bring competition back to rap.
Yeah.
Right? Let's try to outdo each other. Let's try to
make
this a sport again.
I remember Mac Miller tweeted out, if I can't say a noun or a verb, can I say some adjectives then?
Right, exactly. Like some people took it as funny, but I mean, when you think about Mac Miller's ability, like artistry after that point, it was great.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, you could say like the competition aspect where he wasn't going at people, you know, saying whatever, but his post Control verse, Mac Miller had a phenomenal career.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? Bro, my brother's cat's litter box is doing the most ridiculous thing ever. I don't know if you could hear that. But like, what the fuck is?
It's a robot litter.
It's like it does this. It gets this thing where like after my brother's cat uses it, like it like sifts through the litter, but it sounds like super loud. I don't know if it's gonna show up on the pod.
I can't hear it.
Okay. Jesus Christ. But yeah, like his like post Control verse, Mac Miller had a phenomenal career. Then there were also some people that like responded to Kendrick with songs. Like Big Crit's response to Kendrick's verse was great. Wale had one too. It's great. I can't remember who all on that list had one, But I remember listening to Big Crit and Wale's responses to Kendrick, and I genuinely enjoyed those. Like, even though they didn't get that big, I genuinely thought they were good songs. But yeah, like, so after that verse comes out, and then this man Drake is like, oh, you know, he's talking about like friendly competition. It's like, it's all good. You know what I'm saying? No big deal. But then like, I'm trying, like, let me read this again. Yeah. So the Control verse happens. Then in August of 2013, Drake talks about, he's talking about like, he doesn't really have much to say about it. He's like, you know, it's like when it just sounded like an ambitious thought to me. That's all it was. I knew good and well that Kendrick's not murdering me at all in any platform. So when the day presents itself, I guess we can revisit the topic, right? That's what he said in 2013.
Sure.
Then then in 2013, in September 2013, Drake releases The Language on Nothing Was the Same, right?
Oh shit. Okay, yeah.
And the line like, I don't know why they've been lying, but your shit's not that inspiring, right? You know, a sub. It could be about literally anybody, but like considering when,
like most of Drake's fucking songs,
considering when it happened, like some people could say it's about Kendrick, right? Then one of my favorite Kendrick verses of all time, the BET Hip Hop Awards cipher.
Oof.
And remember, it says, yeah, and nothing's been the same since they dropped Control and tucked the sensitive rapper back in his pajama clothes. Hard. Hard. Probably one of the best verses I've ever heard was that verse. That cipher was amazing. Then in 2013 again, this is all happening in 2013, which is crazy. He talks about the language, and it says, oh, I kind of responded with similar energy, and basically was just like, you know, I'm rolling out this album and I don't want to make it seem like I don't like the dude. Like, I don't want to be baited into like something that it's not, into some kind of thing that it's not. And then he responds with like, Jordan doesn't have to play pickup to prove that he could play ball. No offense.
Fuck yeah.
Bro, come on.
Fuck yeah.
Come on. Like, dude, like, I don't know. I just think people need to start responding with bars. I've always thought that. But yeah, and then Kendrick, I guess, you know, doesn't do like a 180 turn per se, but like he calls Kendrick like a king during OVO Fest. Like, he shouts him out. But Kendrick is like, I'm having none of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like there's a single, I'll Pay For It. I remember that song. I like the song. J-Rock song Pay For It. Kendrick says, I tell him all to hail King Kendrick, resurrecting my vengeance, been dissecting your motor mouth till I break down the engine. And then he also mentioned those lines weren't a warning shot, and he'd rather die alone than continue a friendship with Drake. But then, you know, Drake, ever the subliminal master, says they're gonna say your name on them airwaves. They're gonna hit you up right after, like it's only rap. On If You're Reading This, remember the song Used To?
Yeah. Yeah. Damn, like, this was only 2 years later.
Yeah.
Shit.
And then so like, then this is where I think this is like starting with a turning point for Drake's like approach to this stuff, because obviously he's like trying to not deflect, but he's not really like directly addressing it, and then he'll talk about like throwing subliminals on other songs. But then in an interview he says like talking about some shit where he says the Control verse was really cool for a couple of weeks and that was it. The verse he says I know
it's been 11 years verse, brother.
I know. He said I know that verse he said this in 2015. I know that verse had no malice behind it because I saw him 5 days later at the VMAs and it was all love. He didn't come on there in some wild I'm in New York, fuck everybody, don't look at me. It was one of those things I almost wish he had come in on that shit because I kind of lost a little respect for the sentiment of the verse.
What?
If it's really he said if it's really fuck everybody, then it needs to be fuck everybody. It can't be halfway for the sake of the people. That's not what the verse was.
That's literally not what the verse is. You know, that it is friendly competition.
Did you not listen? Did you not actively listen to it?
No, he just heard his name and got hurt. And let me make it clear for the people. This is in the era where this is my favorite Drake era.
Yeah, 2015. Yeah.
If you're reading this, is my favorite album of his.
Yes.
That era of Drake, I'm not being a hater, but you gotta call a spade a spade. He's soft.
A little bit. For somebody that claims to be such a rap historian.
Light skinned, but I'm dark. No, you're not, man.
Again, for somebody that claims to be like a rap historian and like loves the history of hip hop and rap, why are you not excited by people calling your name out? Wouldn't you want to go at people? Like, that's what, like, think about all the rap beefs that have happened over the course of the however many decades rap's been around.
Bro, he has one of the greatest ones. Him and Meek.
Yeah.
So then what's the difference? Why was he so confident against Meek Mill? Well, Kendrick isn't Meek. I'll say that.
Let's take a timeout there. Let's take a timeout.
Yeah.
Let's take a timeout because Meek is again, no hate to Meek though. Meek was definitely that 20. What?
Yeah, but it's Kendrick,
20,
bro.
What? 2018 Meek? That 2018 when that whole beef was going on. When
2016, I want to say.
2016. Okay, yeah, 2016 Meek Mill. Like I've been a fan of Meek Mill. I like Meek Mill's music.
Yeah.
But, like Meek Mill could rap. However, I think Meek Mill was an easier target than Kendrick.
Yeah.
For being honest. So yeah, like I'm like, bro, he says in the song, I got love for all of you, but I'm trying to like murder you on a verse. I'm trying to be the best.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, what is the deal?
Yeah, it's not even a diss. He literally says, I love you all.
Right. He said, I love y'all, but like I'm the best rapper out of here. And then it sparked people saying, nah, like you can't be on that. Like I'm better, like I'm the best. Like don't be trying to do that. Like Wale and Big Crit again had great responses to that verse. And I thought that again, they had great responses. So then Kendrick comes back. Oh yeah, though he later said in that interview that when it comes to competition, he's more worried about consistency or bodies of work. Which is
who said that?
Drake. He said that in 2015.
Consistency.
He said that in 2015. He had just dropped. If you're reading this, so don't.
True.
All right, let's take a time
Actually,
out.
I can't even hate because he's been consistent with 6 out of 10s in the last few years.
Okay. So yeah, then 2015, Kendrick references ghostwriters on the song King Kunta.
Oh shit, he does.
He said, I can dig rapping, but a rapper with a ghostwriter, what the fuck happened? That was around the Meek Mill and Drake beef though. Like,
yeah.
That was, remember when like Meek Mill was like, oh yeah, Quentin Miller's been writing half of Drake's songs his entire career, that whole thing. So like everybody and their mom was trying to diss Drake for being a ghostwriter. Even like SNL or something like that. Like some kind of like sketch show had a joke about somebody being a ghostwriter.
Inserting again another 2 cents in here so everyone doesn't think I'm just a Drake hater. I think the whole ghostwriter thing was dumb.
Yes, it was.
I feel like everyone has a team of writers, and you could call that ghostwriting. Fucking, I think Kanye writes and records songs to give it to Travis, and then Travis just makes it Travis's songs. Like everyone has ghostwriters. I think that whole thing was dumb, and I was always on Drake's side with that one.
Yeah, that John's nuts. But honestly, this article is so funny because like a good chunk of these are just all Kendrick, just talking about Drake. Because then so the King Kunta thing, and then again in 2015, Kendrick was on a bunch of songs on like, remember that Dr. Dre album Compton?
Yeah.
Like thinking back, that album's really good. But like, again, Kendrick had a lot of
I haven't heard it in a minute.
On there. Like if you go back, like a lot of those songs are really good.
Sure.
But there's a song. Which one is it? So. Oh yeah. So basically, it says, "I still got enemies giving me energy. I don't want to fight now. Subliminally sent me all this hate. I thought I was holding the mic down."
Oh shit.
And then on another song on that same album, he says they're liable to bury him. They nominated 6 to carry him. They worry him to death, but he's no vegetarian. The beef is on his breath, inheriting the drama better than a great white nigga. This is life in my aquarium.
That one is like, that's like a straight shot. They nominated him 6 times. That's just that. He's not talking about anybody else.
No, literally, not at all. Yeah, like, yeah. Then like the whole like 4 p.m. in Calabasas, where Drake mentions like, you know, they told me to take an R&B dude on the road, and I told him no and drew for Kendrick and Rocky. That wasn't even like a subliminal shatter at all. Like that was just like a fact of what happened, I guess.
Yeah.
So there really isn't much to say. Then there was this weird like, I don't know if you remember, but in 2016, like. Apparently there was some interview that happened that the two of them were a part of, and it got kind of crazy. And like Marcellus Wiley, that former NFL player, was like, "Oh, I was there when they were doing that, and it got crazy, but they scrapped it, so nobody knows anything about it." I don't know.
Interesting.
So like, yeah,
I remember
it's just
that.
like, yeah, Marcellus Wiley back in 2016 was like, "Yo, after that Control verse dropped, like Kendrick and Drake like met up and had some kind of interview, and I guess that it was mentioned some shots were fired during that whole interview or something like that, which is weird. Which is like, again, you know, it's like trying to, you know, the he said she said thing, and then
Yeah.
you know, just him being the only one that was a part of it, and be like, "Oh, I'm not gonna tell you who was part of it, but like I heard these 2 rappers got into it in an interview." You know what I'm saying? Like it's just, you know.
Marcellus Wiley. That sounds like a Key and Peele name.
He was on
Marcellus Wiley.
I can't remember the name of that one ESPN show that was really popular. It had like Michelle Beadle on it. It was like Max Kellerman was on it. It's like his first.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I do, but I forgot the name.
Yeah. So then one of my favorite Kendrick Lamar songs, The Heart Part 4.
Oof.
Which, you know, obviously people are gonna talk about people are going to mention that song in regards to Big Sean. Because remember, because Big Sean dropped No More Interviews, because No More Interviews is basically a song saying, "Hey, stop fucking talking to me about the Control verse."
Oh, shit. Yeah. Yeah. I remember.
That's literally what that song is. No More Interviews is literally just say, "Hey, don't talk to me about this Control verse. It's been forever. I don't care anymore."
Yeah.
And also saying, "Oh yeah, Kendrick didn't kill me on that song. Like y'all are tripping." Boom, boom, boom. And then Kendrick on The Heart Part 4 is the whole like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I am the greatest rapper alive. That line was hard. And then the line like, "You jumped sides on me. Now you're about to meet Westbrook." Talking about like I think it made some reference to like Western Road Flows or something like that. But like, so right after that, you have, so that's kind of where it ended, kind of, I guess. But then, all of a sudden, we get to the release of Her Loss. All right. So this is this guy, Chris Season on Twitter. He said, "Drake's More M's verse was about Future this whole time, and here's how I found out." He says in the first half of the verse, Drake says this line, and it says, "What happened to that nigga claiming OVO? We traded him." And it says, "A lot of us thought it was about Metro, and some thought it was about The Weeknd, which never made sense to me because neither of them really ever claimed it. But you know who did was Future, because he would tweet like FBG and OVO. He would wear OVO chains. He had an OVO hoodie. He would post pictures with that on."
Okay.
Then it says, "For the longest time, the rumor was that Metro was pillow talking to some woman about his dislike for Drake, which sounds odd. You'll see and could probably guess that all these women that fuck with rappers fuck with the same rappers. You can guess how Drake found out about the jokes." And then the line in More M's, "Fuck, let me kick it basic. Niggas ain't got love for the boys, so they fake it, crack a couple jokes to some bitches on some snake shit." And then in Type Shit on the song Type Shit on the album with Metro and Future, the line just a sad hoe running through the crew type shit, bunch of rich niggas hoes get confused type shit. And she fucked me, ran her mouth because I'm a boss type shit. So like it starts so the pieces are starting to come together, right? Then he raps this line and mentions how they'll always take the verse. Again, Metro didn't take, I guess it was a song Trance. I can't remember that song. Was it on Heroes and Villains? I can't remember. But like apparently Drake was supposed to be on some song that Metro had made for something, and it didn't make it. Right? So the tweet says, again, Metro didn't take the trance verse, so there's no way to me this could mean it's about Metro. He's rarely been on stage with Drake. Because the line is, but if I send a verse to the ass, then they'll take it, shoot a video, arm around me like we aces, or pop out on my shows, jump around with me on stages. That's in more M's.
Okay.
The only person, so like, and basically talking about the Wait For You song, and I'm on one, which was on like I Never Liked You.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, right?
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
So, and then so like I guess like the only person that's really been on stage with Drake and been like, you know, super buddy, I guess since this happened has been Future.
Yeah.
And then it says he concludes the verse in more M's with probably why these hoes love to shower me with praises. Might have fucked a rapper girl, but you ain't fucked Drake yet. Again, I hate that line, but whatever. You know what's crazy though?
Yeah.
This starts to make the song What Would Pluto Do sound even more nuts in context.
Yeah. Okay. I saw a lot of tweets about that like, oh, if Drake and Future have been beefing this whole time, then What Would Pluto Do is insane. And Future has a reason to be upset.
Yeah, because like at first I was like, oh, because in the beginning of the album, Future said something like, oh, you've been just like a fan of me this whole time, woo woo woo, that kind of stuff, like you just been dick riding, kind of.
Yeah,
that's basically what he says. And when I first heard that, I was like, oh, that means that What Would Pluto Do sounds nuts in context.
Yeah, like
Drake was saying, oh, what would Pluto do because he fucks with Future, but Future's like, nah, fuck you, you're a fan. That's what I first thought. I was like, okay, whatever. But apparently it says, the tweet says he concludes with that verse, which always threw me off since he was rapping the way he was throughout this verse. But now it makes sense since a lot of this was about a woman. In parentheses, are we serious? ? So yeah, like, but so that whole thing threw me off, and then like, you know, you have so it kind of started with that whole Kendrick thing. Then Drake and Metro had like a little beef, and then apparently Drake was subbing Future on Her Loss.
Yeah.
Which then leads into What Would Pluto Do, which apparently could mean that, like, instead of saying what would Pluto do, he fucked the host, so I did it. Again, side note, that song sucks. I'm not
what would Pluto do?
Yes.
Yeah.
That song sucks.
Most of the album is boring.
That song sucks.
The only reason why First Person Shooter's any good is because J. Cole killed it.
One thing I do hate about First Person Shooter is that, like, Drake had to change the beat and rap separately without J. Cole just for him to have a good beat. A good verse.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, bro, you couldn't rap on the original beat, bro?
LeBron had to leave Miami to have his own fucking team.
God, bro.
Also, why is it 23 songs long? Fuck.
We've already had that conversation. So yeah, so like, I guess what would Pluto do instead is like messing with a girl that Future had at one point. Not necessarily to take her away from Future, but like just to be petty.
Yeah.
Which I think is just insane.
The biggest bitch shit you can do.
What, bro? You're almost 40.
You're 36.
Him and Future are almost 40. 40.
Fucking Future. You don't see Future doing that shit.
Yes, he. Bro, do you know how many subliminal lines he drops on Sierra on a regular?
You know what? That's my misogynistic ass forgetting about
Forgetting
about Future's whole shit with Sierra.
Bro,
I was hating on Drake a little too much.
Bro,
I forgot Future is not that good a person either.
Bro, Future and Drake fans are like Future fans are just people that like Future a little too much. Right?
Yeah.
Like they have this like unnatural disdain for Russell Wilson. It's honestly insane.
For being like a God-fearing man.
Like I mean, personally,
just being a regular dude.
Like personally, as a sports fan, I don't like Russell Wilson. I think he's super fake. However, I can't speak to his ability to be a father and to be a loving husband to Sierra. I can't speak to that.
Sure.
I can only see what I see online. But just people having this random unnatural disdain for Russell Wilson because he's the quote unquote corny dude that got with the thug's ex-girl. Like, what the fuck? I don't understand what the deal is.
If anything, it's like that is like almost more of a negative on Future.
Yes.
It's like, if he's so corny, why is he with your child's mother?
That's what I'm saying. And why is that child being parented better by him than you?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Again, I can't speak. Again, I can't speak to that. Just a joke. I can't speak to that. I really don't know what goes on in that household. None of us know. It's a parasocial thing.
Yeah, but Future's whole thing was being toxic, and everyone thought it was great.
Yeah, I just think it's kind of crazy. I know we talked about this when we referenced, like, you know, For All the Dogs. Like, Drake is nearing 40.
Yeah.
Why are you rapping about songs and name dropping women? Again, Bahamas Promises is one of my favorite songs on that album. I love that song.
Sure.
Right? I love that song. The song's great. If you look up who he's talking about, that woman's like 23. I think.
You 36.
I think that woman's bro. Again, if it's just the kind of stuff like that, like, I don't understand. But okay, back to, I guess, the conversation and discourse surrounding Kendrick's verse now. I think as far as like people were talking about, oh, this all Kendrick does is just like make a verse to start beef and then never, like, he comes out of hiding to start beef and just goes back into his hole or whatever. Like, nobody's ever really challenged him to a beef. Whose fault do you think it is that nobody's actively challenged him to a rap?
Yeah, dude, because people know better. Because people know better.
That's what I'm saying.
So I want no peace, only problems.
Like, bro, he comes in, makes a verse saying, I'm better than you guys. You guys go, oh my God. And nobody decides to take up the, like, I mean, obviously Big Crit and Wale, again, they did. But like, as much as I like those songs subjectively, like, objectively, they didn't make much of an impact for Kendrick to respond to that.
As much as I love those two artists.
Right.
You're not overcoming Kendrick, man.
You're not doing it, bro.
It's just not. I saw a TikTok. I don't know if I sent it to you. There were a lot of streamers reacting to the whole album. And they get to like that. Kendrick starts rapping, and then it gets to fuck sneak dissing, first person shooter. I hope they came with 3 switches, and there's just one guy. I think it's something Shaq. I forgot his full name. He pauses it and he goes, "No, Kendrick, don't do this to my favorite rapper." He goes, "Kendrick's the only rapper I'm afraid of. Don't do this."
Oh my god. Like, okay. What's so funny is, realistically, the only person I think could that could go toe to toe for him, like just straight up bar wise and like actual rap beef wise, and actively want to compete in the sport of rapping, would be J. Cole.
Yeah,
like that would be like just those two going back and forth would be amazing. And honestly, it's so funny. It's so funny to me because he kind of got caught in some like the diss was more collateral damage.
Yeah,
he was more collateral damage. He kind of got caught up in it, even though he was mentioned in the diss with first person shooter. I think it's so funny how Drake was just like, oh yeah, you know, we're the big three of rapping, like boom boom boom, like me, Drake, and K-Dot. Oh, cool. And Kendrick's like, the fuck?
I genuinely think
who is this we?
If you read, actually, I was about to say most of the verse is targeted at Drake.
Yeah.
But then there's the first person shooter line, which you can say is like, oh, it's a Drake song. It doesn't really have to do anything with J. Cole. But then he says, if you walk around with that stick, it ain't Andre 3K, which is like that's about Stick.
Yeah.
The JID J. Cole song.
Yes.
So
and then obviously the Andre 3K flute thing. Fine.
Yeah.
But also he says like motherfuck the big three. It's big me. Like
yeah, but I still think that's, even though J. Cole said we the big three, I think that's more about Drake, because Drake allowed J. Cole to say that on his song, knowing that Drake and maybe J. Cole doesn't think there's beef, but Drake knows he doesn't like Kendrick.
Bro, J. Cole is not dumb. I think he knows there's a beef there. I think what he was trying to do is like
mend it.
Yes, literally, yeah. In my like headcanon, J. Cole bridges the beef, like is able to extend the olive branch between the two of them, and then the three of them drop like a 12-song album, and they called the Big Three.
No, it's called The Mind, Body, and Soul.
Oh shit. It's really funny. Oh man. That's the worst meme. The worst music meme of all time. Oh, that's awesome.
I think if J. Cole's trying to mend the relationship, him saying fuck the big three, it's just big me, isn't really a shot at J. Cole. It's still a shot at Drake, I think.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
It's like
J.
if
Cole got caught in
you were trying to mend a beef between me and your brother, and I said, fuck that. And you were like, all right, I tried.
Like, for real. But yeah, like, it's so funny. Like, seeing the discourse again about this verse. Because it just brings up very unethical conversations about like standom and fandom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I'm a fan of all three of them. However, I'm not a stan of either one. If one of them, like I like Drake. But let's call a spade. Like, the music is catchy but super cookie cutter. And I don't super relate to anything he says anymore, because he's like, somebody said this, I think it might have been like Rainy on like the Victory Light podcast or something like that, but he basically was just like, I think Mero might have said it actually, where it's like, hey, you know, Drake is always going to have an audience, a listener base for what he talks about, because the audience base is usually going to be like high schoolers and like college students. And like, you know, and some, you know, 25, 26, 27 year olds. You know what I'm saying? But like, as we get older and we don't relate to that kind of relationship stuff, or like all that kind of stuff you talk about with women and stuff, like, as we get older, we can move on and not listen to that much. But again, there's always going to be another wave of that demographic that's going to fuck with his music. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm of the camp that says that he doesn't really have much to talk about anymore, but technically you could say that he does. You know what I'm saying? Because always going to be an audience base for it.
Right. again, justifying my haterness. The reason I'm such a big hater of Drake is because I am a fan. Is because I know he has the talent.
Like, bro,
I know he has. He's got the sauce, but for some reason he's become complacent and doesn't utilize the sauce anymore.
I mean, like, if you're that big, like, how you say
he's not hungry.
Really easy. Yeah, I mean, it's easy to not be hungry when you literally accomplished everything.
I think his last hungry album was Views.
And it wasn't received well, which is pretty funny.
And Views was already kind of the start of where we're at now with Drake. But even back then, it was just a different aura. Right now, it just sounds like he's phoning in everything, and that's why I get so angry, and that's why I'm Team Kendrick.
Like, I mean, yeah, so like, I'm a fan of all three. I think that, you know, what gets me about, so Drake is music you could always come back to because it's very, you know, it's just catchy. You know what I'm saying? You can always come back to it. J. Cole's music is one of those things where it's like, for me, like, I can come back to it sometimes, but I'm not always not really looking at it that much. Like, to be honest, like, I'll listen to it, you know, first few weeks. I still think he's a great rapper. I'll save some songs that I think that I like, that I can listen to every day. But for me, sometimes I don't really come back to a lot of his albums, except for like Forest Hills Drive and Born Sinner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Kendrick is almost the exact same way, where it's like, I think he's probably the best rapper out, like, just pure rapping.
Yeah.
Him and J. Cole are like 1A, 1B. But again, like, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers haven't really come back to that, even though I think it's a phenomenal album.
Yeah, I agree.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I think, you know, I'll go back and listen to it every now and again, but like, I'm not realistically coming back to that album.
If I remember correctly, when we did our top animes and top albums of the year, I think I didn't even put Mr. Morale in my top 10. And it's not because I didn't like it. It's because I kind of forgot about it.
Yeah, I think I put it at like 6 to me. I think I put it at 6.
I think I saw you put it and I go, oh shit, that's right. That did come out this year. And I also think it's great. I think it's great.
No, yeah. And I think, like, and again, when it comes to, I guess, Kendrick's albums, I'll come back to Mad City. I'll come back to Damn. Damn, I think, is my favorite Kendrick album.
To Pimp a Butterfly. I listened to Butterfly a lot.
Yeah, that album's great too. I don't know why I really come back to that one, but I come back to Damn a lot. And so, like, but you can have these criticisms and these, like, opinions about who's better without getting super unethical.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, trying to like, and you know what's funny? It's mostly Drake fans that I see. It's like,
yeah, because
like,
they're the youngest,
bro. So, yeah. They're like, and that kind of reiterates my point. It's like, he's always going to have an audience for his music. It just sucks that the reoccurring audience for his music doesn't know how to articulate debate in debates about artists without being unethical. Like, talking about how nobody listens to Kendrick Lamar anymore. How I saw some shit where it said, somebody was like, they quoted it said, hey, yo, all the hoes are here, tell them to put on that Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. If that's your gauge for rap albums, or just albums in general, that's a problem.
That is because you, if that, like you said, if that's your gauge, then you don't have the capacity to listen to any music critically.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, what, you only listen to Drake? Okay. Also, all of 21 Savage's music, and I'm putting him in the same corner as Drake because they're kind of synonymous at this point. All of 21 Savage's music isn't for the hoes either.
Nah, not really.
Fucking, if you're reading this, it's too late. A lot of those songs aren't really for the hoes either.
Yeah, those kind of walk the fine line
They
between
do.
like For the Hose and all. Like Energy, you can still play that around the hose.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
But still, it's like that is just a really bad benchmark.
Yes, it's a really bad benchmark. And then, or just saying like, bro, I saw probably one of the dumbest tweets I've ever seen. I think I might have, I don't know if I screenshotted it or saved it. What was it? Oh yeah, somebody said, this is how unethical this debate is. This discourse is getting. Someone said Drake can write To Pimp a Butterfly, but Kendrick couldn't write Scorpion. Like, bro, are we?
Okay, so he's just delusional because it is 1000% the opposite.
Yeah,
it is 1000%. Also, you're saying Scorpion is as good as To Pimp a Butterfly? You couldn't have picked Take Care, or if you're reading this is too late, you couldn't have picked Drake's better album?
right. Like,
what the fuck are we talking about?
Like, I genuinely think like Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is probably as close to Take Care as you're gonna get.
Yeah. And
that's craziness. I hope
even
nobody looks at me crazy.
Even then, it's like it's.
I hope nobody looks at me crazy with me saying that. But like, if you think about the whole, I guess the whole like subject matter of Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, like how a lot of it has to do with his failed relationship with his with the mother of his child.
It's his softest album.
Yeah, like
conceptually.
Yes, conceptually. With like, you know, the issue of sex addiction and how he grew up with that, and like struggles with his mental health and his own, like him wanting to fix things but not having the mental capacity to do it, that kind of stuff, is as close to, you know, Drake rapping about failed relationships and being heartbroken on Take Care. You know, it's a little bit of a stretch, but like if you kind of, you know, break down both subject matters in these albums, like they kind of seem somewhat similar on a conceptual level.
What's crazy to me, because you explaining the concepts of Mr. Morale and Take Care, this is how you know Drake stans they don't think of shit critically, because they don't know what To Pimp a Butterfly is about, even though it's so obvious what it's about. The fact that guy said, oh, Drake can write To Pimp a Butterfly, you don't know, you don't listen to music. You just don't.
Nah.
They listen to music, they don't hear it. You're not hearing him.
Like, To Pimp a Butterfly, it was funny, I think people kind of take To Pimp a Butterfly and move it into this like weird like this weird like situation where they think it's only about like political stuff. Yeah. Which, if you really want to boil it down, it's not.
Honestly, it's about a lot of different things.
But like you can't say an album in which that whole "I Remember You" was conflicted monologue. You can't. That shows up so often in that album, and it's about Kendrick's mental health again. Yeah, his own mental health and what he's dealing with currently.
Bro, there's a song that he starts crying on.
Yeah. And people are like, oh, it's about the like politics and stuff. That's in there. But it's not really. It's
definitely a factor, but
it's not like, I'll say like the political stuff is maybe like, I'll say 45% of the album. I'll say 45.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And I just think it's funny how like that 45% is what people think 100% of the album is, which you know, it is what it is. But
you know what?
Yeah, like you're not seeing Drake do that.
I think sonically, the closest thing Kendrick has ever made to a Drake album is Damn. Sonically, the way it sounds.
Yeah, I could see that.
And Drake can't write Damn.
No.
Like, hell no, he can't.
No.
He would never.
No.
The fact that it starts like there's this whole story of Kendrick getting shot or something in Damn.
Yeah.
Like, I think someone would tell Drake that idea and Drake would go, nah, that's weird.
bro, I just don't think he has the right. And I want to make sure something clear. I don't think that Kendrick could make an album that sounds like Take Care.
No,
because of just their backgrounds and
agreed.
how they approach music and what
especially
their
now
styles of music are.
Especially
Yes.
now, everyone would think it's weird that Kendrick is making an album that sounds like that.
Like I feel like Kendrick could probably make a Her Lost, but he'd need Baby Keem for like half of it.
Ooh, that shit would be hard.
Like, but you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't think Kendrick by himself could make an album like Drake, but he would need some help. He needs some help.
I need a Hillbillies album.
I mean, that would be the closest I would think to maybe like getting a Her Loss.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I don't think Kendrick would ever be able to make could have ever been able to make a Take Care. Whenever it has something to do with like when it's a softer album, it has to do with himself and not like just external factors that are affecting him. You see what I'm saying?
Bro, you want to... So I saw a TikTok. It was just 2 pictures. And this made me not upset, angry, upset, sad. Let me see if I can find it. Because it's basically saying like, oh, we just got rap civil war. And on one side, I want to see if I can get the whole list. Fuck, I can't. So on one side, it's Metro, Future, Kendrick. I think they had Baby Keem. Shit, this is so unprofessional. Let me see if I can find it. I want the whole fucking list. Oh, Kanye.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, that's a pretty good fucking squad. And then they put Playboy Cardi, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, with Kendrick?
Whatever.
No.
And it makes me so sad because on Drake's side, there's Drake, there's Nicki Minaj, already not as good as the other side. Kid Cudi, which is wrong. Kid Cudi's not on Drake's side. I don't think Kid Cudi even has a part in this war, for being honest.
Plus, Drake dissed him on 2 Birds, 1 Stone.
Yeah, exactly. 21 Savage. Again, I like 21 Savage. Still not as good as the other side.
No.
And then because of First Person Shooter, they have J. Cole and JID, which I'm like...
Oh, did you see?
Dude, I love them, but if I had to choose a side, I'm picking the other side.
Did you? Side note: did you see? People were like saying, "Hey, you know, it'd be funny if somebody tried to diss JID. What would happen there?"
I think out of the newcomers, out of the young class, I don't think many people can go toe to toe with JID.
No, I don't think so.
You know what I think would be funny, actually?
What?
I think a JID Baby Keem beef would be fucking awesome because they both would make great songs. JID would come at him lyrically and it'd be amazing, but then Baby Keem would just make a song and be like, I'm gonna punch you in the face, and it would be hard as fuck.
I hate how accurate that sounds, too. I hate how accurate that is.
Yeah.
Man, it's just tough because then, okay, so back to the unethical conversations. They're talking about how like Kendrick's nowhere near as big as Drake, and how like you get a lot of like metrics grifters.
Yeah.
Where like they talk about like numbers and talking about album sales and tour sales and all this kind of stuff, and how like Kendrick's not relevant. Relevant is the worst like phrase, bro. Do you remember? You have to remember the whole age of like younger YouTube, like 2015 YouTube, where like people were using the word relevant as like a slur.
Yeah. They're irrelevant. It doesn't matter.
They're irrelevant.
Yeah, I remember.
They're not relevant. Yeah. That's what that's what it feels like to me.
Dude, I think just being a stan is like the biggest illness, because bro, people forget. It doesn't matter what you think about Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. It doesn't matter if you like it or if you dislike it. It's a fucking moment in pop culture when Kendrick releases an album.
Yes.
And
Bro.
and honestly, Drake releases a lot of albums, so maybe it doesn't feel like it. It is a moment as well. It is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a moment. But the fact that they're both moments should tell Drake stans, fuck, like he is relevant. But they don't think that because on Twitter, they're in a fucking echo chamber.
Yes, they're in an echo chamber, bro. It's like we forget that Kendrick Lamar had a record for the biggest tour, most sold tour ever, and then he has a fucking Pulitzer Prize.
I was just about to bring that up.
Like, what are we talking about?
But that's how you know. Again, that's how you know the Drake stans don't think about shit critically. It doesn't matter what kind of music you like. The fact that the other artist has a Pulitzer Prize means that most people consider it art.
Yeah.
And Drake has a Grammy, which is a big deal. I'm not gonna lie. It is a big deal. He's won his awards.
Yeah.
But it's like, brother, just it dude, stans. Again, we're the next episode we're talking about stans. They piss me off so much. It doesn't matter what you're a stan of. It could be a Drake stan. It could be a fucking One Piece stans. They all piss me off.
Yeah, it's gonna be. So
I love One Piece, and I had to block One Piece stans.
Yeah, so next episode is gonna be about fandom stands as well as our favorite JoJo stands. So everybody, make sure you tune in to that episode. But dog, yeah, I just think I kind of want to talk about J. Cole for a second.
Yeah,
because I thought it was really funny how people. I mean, I do agree that I think that J. Cole and Kendrick going back and forth on a track would be super dope. I think it'd be really cool. I think we get to see some real lyrical, and just like overall wordplay, really good raps, right? So funny though. Somebody tweeted. I agree with it. Somebody tweeted, J. Cole didn't even beat No Name in their beef. So what does he look like beating Kendrick in a rap beef?
Oh man, I forgot. He did have beef with No Name, huh?
It wasn't even like I mean, it kind of was. That whole thing was kind of.
Didn't it start on that Chance the Rapper song that they're on together?
I think I can't remember what happened, but basically,
you remember that, right? It was the Donnie Trumpet and the Social Experiment. Do you remember that song?
Yeah, I do.
That they're both on it.
Yeah. I think what actually happened though is like No Name's always been very like outspoken about, you know, political activism and like all that kind of stuff.
She gets herself into a lot of shit.
She does.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes it's warranted, sometimes it's not. But like the whole Jay Electronica thing was kind of her fault.
I remember.
Like,
yeah.
Honestly. But basically she was just like, hey, she based it on a song was like, yo, all these like black artists are talking about, you know, black plight and what we need to do to fix that, but haven't really been in the field for real.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of people, which, you know, understandably, thought it was about J. Cole, which, you know, you could definitely say that. So J. Cole decides to respond, and instead of being like, yo, you know what, in the song, instead of being like, you know what, you're right, let me get out in the field, let me try to you kind of, or either saying this to her in person or saying it on a song, you're right, let me get out in the field for real. Mm-hmm. Instead, he decides to try to tone police her. Basically saying like, yo, like you ain't gotta be all like that trying to talk to me about this, that, and the third.
Sure.
You know? Which is just a massive oversight on his
Yeah.
part. Just a very big oversight on his part.
Yeah.
Like, bro, you could just been like, yeah, you're right. Like, I got to get out of the field. And then after getting the backlash of being like, why are you trying to tone police her? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you trying to do that? He was like, people were talking about him. Because in the song, no man was like, yo, y'all don't even like read books for real. And J. Cole was like, you know, after all the backlash, he was like, you know what? You're right. My bad. And instead of being like, I'll do my own internal research, he was like, yo, what kind of books do you read and put me on? Like, that's not what you're supposed to. Like, dog.
But I think that comes from like, I think he thought he was doing the right thing.
Yeah.
It's because that's not even like real rap beef. That's like weird. There's like a weird overarching like caveat of like societal issues. That's just that's like a weird flash in the pan of J. Cole's career.
Yeah. It just thought it was funny because like he didn't really like do anything when somebody called him out on a song the previous time. So
yeah, but Kendrick's not gonna tell him to go read a book.
Yeah.
Or maybe he does. Maybe they do get into beef and Kendrick's like, remember, you can't read.
That'd be really funny. Could you imagine? Like, talk about that. You're talking about that meme, the heart, the mind. Now J. Cole's the mind, and he can't read. That'd be so funny. Oh shit. Oh man. Yeah. Look. I'll wrap it up with this. Look, if you are, trying to, if your debates on who would win a rap beef are starting out with metrics or who's more relevant or who's bigger, you're already at a disadvantage. If your metric for how good a Kendrick Lamar album is if the hoes fuck with it, is a terrible metric.
Yeah.
And it means you don't actively like rap music.
Yeah.
You just like what the hoes like. Which could be, and to for the phrase "the hoes" doesn't have to be. It's not like specific to women.
Yeah,
it's just people in general. Like if you only consider albums good based on whether you can play it at a function or whether you can play it in a car and people are gonna fuck with it, that's not a great metric for determining whether or not an album's good.
If you listen to music and your first thought is, damn, I can't wait to show people this, then you have this underlying problem where you have the need to feel cool.
Yeah.
You are no better than the person who listens to underground shit also wanting to feel cool.
Like trying to you listen to Drake, I listen to fucking X, Y, and Z, and he only has 2 songs out.
Different side of the same coin.
Yeah, me and you enjoy sharing music.
Yes.
And listening to mainstream and underground stuff and like to share it. You know what I'm saying? We're not gatekeeping. We're not trying to be too cool for listening to people that most people don't know.
Yeah.
And just and we're never going to sit here and try to debate the relevancy based on tour sales and album sales. Like it's just not a good, like, do me and you like it or not? That's really all it comes down to.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know. That's really dumb to me.
Fucking the Five Nights at Freddy's movie sucks and it made $9 billion fucking dollars. So what the fuck does that say about art,
Right.
Fucking Drake says, I'm a lesbian, and he sold out arenas.
like, I mean, let's be for real right now, bro. Like, just be for real for 2 seconds. That's all I'm asking. Be for real for 2 seconds.
He said he's a lesbian.
You can say you like. You can say that you don't like Kendrick's music.
Yeah, that's
fine.
That is
fine. That's fine. You could say that you could say that you think Drake is a better artist than Kendrick. That is perfectly fine. But your reasoning cannot be like stuff that comes down to like very unethical stuff that we talked about already. That's what I'm gonna leave with. Honestly.
What's that clip of Tyler where he was like, I don't want to hear who you think's the GOAT. I want to hear who you love. Like what does that person mean to you? What does their music mean to you?
Yes.
I don't care about metrics or anything like that. What does it mean to you?
Yeah, I think that's a great clip. And it's funny, I think that clip, I want to turn that into like a whole episode about music and anime.
Yeah.
I think that soundbite or that quote from Tyler makes a lot of sense in the whole grand scheme of like fandoms and media and what media means to people.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to do that episode at some point. But yeah, do you have, speaking of, sharing music, do you have any other music that you have heard lately that you want to share with the people?
So lately, in the midst of all this craziness, they did release an old Mac Miller song.
Yeah.
The Quest, and it's really good. I like it a lot. Just a few singles. I liked switching away from rap. Claro had a band back in the day, and their song's been popping off on TikTok, and I like it a lot. It's called Steam, Steeam, by Shelly. It's a nice little viber. Besides that, honestly, I've created this playlist. Whoever listens to Apple Music out there, if you look up my name, Andre Alonso, I created a Bomb Rush Cyberpunk playlist, which has music from the game, but also songs that I think just fit the vibe of the game, and I've been listening to that a lot.
Oh, that's kind of dope. Send me that, actually.
Yeah, all right.
I'll go. Okay, so this 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I want to start with saying you should definitely listen to We Don't Trust You. The album's great.
Definitely.
Like a lot. I think Future does a great job. Future does better with rapping on this one than he has in the past for me. I feel like sometimes it seems like Future's kind of phoning it in with his albums sometimes to me. Because, I grew up on Future. He's a Georgia, Atlanta legend. So, like, I've been listening for a long time. So, like, sometimes it seems like he's kind of phoning it in some of his albums. This one is not when he's phoning it in. Obviously, Like That's good. Nobody's really going to listen to it that much. Or, like, nobody's going to mention it that much because it's not a popular single. But Everyday Hustle, did not know that Future on a soul sample could be that fire. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I love that song.
And they got fucking Rick Ross on it.
Right, I love that. Yeah, he did a really good job on that. The album Heavy by Sir dropped, has a Isaiah Rashad and an Anderson .Paak feature on it. Super solid. 16 songs, so one song over my usual track list threshold. Even though we don't trust you, it's 17. So it's pushing it.
Yeah.
And then as far as like Jungle, NPU Archives has an album coming out. Silence is Loud.
NPU Archives, that's what it is. You sent me her the other day.
Yeah, there's 3 songs out right now. They're pretty solid. And then my boy Kenny Mason dropped 9. The album 9. Obviously, it's 9 songs. Very.
The album dropped?
Pretty solid. Yeah, it dropped like 2 weeks ago.
What?
Maybe. Yeah.
How'd I miss that?
I will say that out of all of the stuff he's dropped, it is discography. This album is good, but it is the weakest one of his discography.
He has a song with, I always forget how to say it. I think it's Toro y Moi.
Y Moi? I didn't know it.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think it's Toro y, I think, is Spanish. But then moi isn't a Spanish song, so I think, or a Spanish word, so I think it's moi.
Oh, okay. But yeah, like it's a good album, but I'll definitely say it's on the weaker side when it comes to his total discography.
Sure. His last album was fucking fantastic.
Yes, it was. So that's all from me. Yeah. So next time we'll be getting into standoms and fandoms as well as our favorite JoJo stands.
Eyes of Heaven.
Next time on the podcast. That's been all for us. I've been Nostalgia, asked by Zoe. See you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.